This is The Dig on the Huskers Radio Network podcast. Powered by Emeritus. Featuring Nebraska Volleyball Director of Operations Lindsay Peterson. Here's your host, Jessica Coody.
Welcome back into another episode of The Dig, powered by Emeritus. I'm Jessica Coody, and this week joined by Director of Operations Lindsay Peterson, her first time on the podcast this season. Welcome back. Great to have you here in studio.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I feel like we were here not too long ago last year talking about a stadium match, and think that all of this has come about since then. But it's exciting to be back in this time of year and fall, and you can feel the energy around Lincoln for sure.
Absolutely. Big weekend over the weekend for you guys. Picked up a couple wins here at home, but I did want to circle back and go to the loss at SMU. How did you guys see the team respond from that and want to bounce back from that?
Well, we always talk about a loss, like you have something to learn from it. And if you don't learn anything from it, then obviously it beat you twice, basically. So we really talked about, hey, how did we get in the situation? We let SMU get a lot of momentum in that first set. We were up, and then they came back, and you could see them just get a lot of hope and momentum and think that they had a shot to win this. And we didn't respond how we wanted, and we saw maybe a little more fear and timidness in our team than what we had hoped for or anticipated. But credit to SMU. They played an incredible match. They were very tough defensively, and you could see it wore on us in our offense and shut down our offense. And we also saw the importance of serving and passing. I mean, their servers were hot. They had one server that was a very tough server, and she got really hot, and that can really change the match. And it did on Tuesday. So our focus was, when we came back into the gym Wednesday, was, hey, we got to learn and move on. We know where we need to get better. We saw the importance of serving and passing, but we also saw the sense of urgency we need to have when we're up, or how to play each point. We can't play the last point. We have to have an urgency that when we're up, we need to finish that game out. And so there was a lot we could take away from that will definitely help us. And it was, like you said, it was a great match to start and on the road, and to see that environment. I mean, it was a packed house. We knew they were going to be excited to play in that. They don't get that, that many fans every night, and we do. And so it was really everything was in their favor. They were coming out to have fun, and we needed to be able to respond. And it was great for us to see, because we'll face that a lot this year, especially on the road in the Big Ten.
You had mentioned the serving, and they had, I think, 7 service aces. How do you address that, and how do you stop that in match when you do have somebody that's got the hot hand like that?
Well, when somebody's serving like that, your focus turns to, we just got to get the ball in the air. Mm-hmm. And then everyone has to have the mindset that they're going to better the ball and do something with it. So, take a little pressure off our passers. If they get the ball up, then we need to do our job offensively to get them out of that rotation. The quickest way to get a hot server out is, not let him go on a run. And unfortunately, if they start going on runs, it just builds their confidence, and they start to feel a little more confident from the service line, and makes it tougher for us, for the passers. So the biggest key is, when you find a hot server, you got to find a way to side out quickly and get them out of their rhythm, and not let them start to get in the flow from the service line. And so we address that of, we got to do a better job on our end, fighting not to get aced, and just getting the ball in the air, and then everybody taking a little bit of responsibility, not just our passers, and trying to get out of that rotation and get that server off the service line.
How much of it was a good reminder too? I know, this is nothing new for this program, but hey, you're probably going to get everybody's best night in and night. Everybody is fighting to play their very best against Nebraska. How good of a reminder is that hey, everybody's coming out, and they are going to be fired up to play Nebraska?
I think it was a good reminder early, especially because we have new players. We have some players that have been here before, and last year with the experience, but it's good for them to see it's not just in the Big Ten we're going to get everybody's best shot. It's everybody's best shot, no matter whether it's at home or away. And they have to understand that the target's on them. And I think sometimes that can cause some pressure. So you think, well, if you lose a match, maybe it takes a little bit of pressure off, and they understand, hey, that will take the heat off of trying to beat Nebraska. But when you wear Nebraska across your chest and you decide to come to this program and be part of this team, that's an expectation and a pressure you're going to have to face, because of the tradition that our program is built, and just everyone wants to have a shot at Nebraska. And you see that in all sports. The top basketball teams, like Duke had it for a long time, North Carolina, everyone just, if you can say you beat those teams, it's big for your programs. Yeah. And that was probably SMU's mindset, Tuesday. That's huge for their program to say whatever our ranking was going into that, they beat Nebraska. And that's something that their players will use to thrive on to get them through the season. And it also is a great thing they can use for recruiting. Like, look what we've done, our program has done. And so, it's part of being on our team and part of, being in this program, and they understand that expectation. And it's a good reminder that every night you have to be at your best, because you can't just look at what the name is on the team across the court, what's on their uniform. You have to play Nebraska volleyball every single night. Absolutely.
Well, how did you guys like the way that they responded then getting back home inside the Devaney Center with the 2 matches back at home?
It was a good response. It's tough. It was a lot in 1 week for them, and we knew that, and our non-conference has been tough. So we wanted to try to get back and get in a flow. And you saw that each of our matches, as we start out, the teams we faced in Montana State and the Citadel, like the first set was maybe a little bit shaky, but as the match went on, you saw improvement throughout the match, and you saw, us start to settle down, get in our rhythm, both offensively and defensively, and put that pressure on the opposing teams. And that's what we needed to see, and that was a great response and what we were expecting, and what we need to use to build off of, because each week, the ante goes up a little bit. I mean, this week's is going to be a really tough week again for us, and then you don't want to look ahead, but when you look ahead, it doesn't get easier. And I think that's why we have to have the mindset. We have to continue to get better each week and not play to the opponent on the other side.
Lauren and JB were talking on the broadcast. They seemed to really love the play of Leyla Blackwell. And when she got her opportunity, how big of a bright spot was she for you guys, especially against the Citadel?
Yeah, Leyla is such a fun player to have on our team. She's super mature, very experienced with, what she's coming from San Diego. She's played at a high level. She just has a calming factor out there, but you can see she has a light and a passion out there that really rubs off on our team. And so it was really fun to see her come out and make an impact in the match. And she's very talented. And so it's great to know that we have those options, and it gives a team a different look. They haven't seen Leyla play a lot, so it's hard to prepare for her. She's a different type of hitter than what you see in Rebecca and Andy. And that plays to our strengths. And so Layla's going to get a lot of time, and she did a great job this weekend for us. And you saw that she came in, we didn't miss a beat, and she had a huge impact on us offensively.
And then in terms of the hitters too, you guys just have so much depth. How are you going about figuring out who's playing when, and do you feel like you're getting closer to figuring out what you need and when?
Yeah, that's the magic question, and it is having depth is a blessing, but sometimes it also can be a curse too, and how you look at it. But we love the fact that we have a super, super competitive gym, and we know that if it's an off night for somebody, we have somebody else that's ready to come in and be a game changer and make an impact. And so that's what we're excited about, and everyone's really working hard and trying to figure out what their role is. As we continue to get through this non-conference, I think roles will start to be a little more settled in, and people understand what's needed from them for this team, and that'll only help us get more in our rhythm and smooth things out. But we have a lot of depth, and that's a good thing, because you don't have to rely on, if somebody's struggling, hoping they get out of it. If they need to take a break, we have somebody that can come in and still be at the exact same level. And that puts a lot of stress and pressure on the opposing teams, as they have to continue to prepare for more than just 1 or 2 players. There's a lot of players they got to prepare for, because we could play several on any given night.
You had talked earlier about, receiving the serve against SMU, but how do you guys feel like the progress is being made about what your guys are doing from behind the service line?
Yeah, we like to have our ace to error ratio, about 1 ace to every 2 errors. And when we came back in our first match, the Citadel, we started out missing a few serves early. I think some of it was nerves being back home, and we settled in. But we've got to continue to be a better serving team and put pressure on them. We saw what service pressure can do to us, and we're going to face teams where we're going to have to do the exact same thing to get them uncomfortable and out of their rhythm offensively. So that's been a big focus in practice. It'll continue to be. We saw, we had, I think, 7 aces against Montana State the other night, and So that's signs to show, signs showing that we're progressing and we're serving tough. Now we just need to continue to serve tough. And if we don't want to err, we have a really good defense. We want to let our defense, if we can't get an ace, then we need to let our defense win it and not give the team an easy out by erring on our serve.
Absolutely. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to get into with you, well, a couple of different things, but first of all, we heard Lauren talking the other day about this drill that you guys do, focusing on digs and the Caleb Banworth drill. Can you tell us about that and why that's been an important focus for this team?
Well, it's just a bro dig drill where, they're in there and they're getting hit at from all different angles, and it's tough. There's no block. So it's an open net, and you have people swinging away at you. And defense is really about grit, and it's a mentality and effort. And that's what our players need to understand. And a lot of them have that, but it's good to continue to reinforce it because you can't just rely on the block to slow it down. And a defensive play is such a momentum changer in the game of volleyball. And so it's a tough drill. It's a very tough drill to get out of, and you have to be extremely gritty and, be willing to make a play that is, is it one that you're going to make all the time? So you have to find ways to get the ball up, and that's something that it puts stress on our defenders, but it also helps build their confidence, because if you get out of that drill and you find your way out of that drill, then you know that, hey, you're pretty good in defense. And so the block doesn't do their job or gets past the block, our backcourt has it handled. And that's a way you really frustrate teams. And we saw that a little bit against SMU. I mean, they were digging the ball and coming back at us in transition, and we got to be able to do the same. And we have a great backcourt, and that drill just continues to improve them.
I assume Kayla was the epitome of that then, if you named the drill after her.
Kayla brought a lot of good drills when she came back as coach, and just pick her mind to see what helps you as a defender, what helped you as a libero in passing or in defense. And those were some of her suggestions, is you got to put yourself in a situation that is really tough to get out of, but it helps. Yes, it's tough in that point, but your mentality going into the match changes because you have a new sense of confidence because of what you did in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, the other thing I wanted to really dive into with you, it's been a couple weeks now since the E60 came out on Harper Murray. Well, it focused on Harper Murray and just her journey, and you were a part of that, I know. But, just the importance of her sharing her story. I know that was important for her to be able to share that with a platform that, your players have. How big was that for her to be able to be brave enough to share everything that she went through? Because it was not an easy journey.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't an easy journey. And I think it really opened a lot of people's eyes to what these student athletes go through these days. It's a different world being a Division I athlete, and especially being a high profile Division I athlete. And I think sometimes it's easy for fans just to see what's on the court and maybe the glory and fame that comes with the win or being the top recruit or whatever, and don't understand really what's going on behind the scenes there, or what it's like to walk a day in one of these athletes' shoes. And I think Harper really opened the door and shed some light for not only athletes here at Nebraska, but across the nation, is to see what these athletes go through, how social media has changed what the pressures they face these days, and being able to handle the stress and pressure of being a student athlete at this, at a place like Nebraska, and then 3, handling the outside distraction and pressures and trying to live up to all that. And we have to remember, they're 17 to 21, 22 years old, and that's a lot. And we have a lot of resources to try to help and do what we can, because we understand it's a great amount of pressure and it's a big change. And I think, the whole story with our team, showing our team and everything that Harper battled through and how the team supported her it's not just Nebraska, going through this. And I think that is what was important, and Harper being vulnerable to show that, hey, maybe the image and perception people think and see of what you see on the court isn't the day-to-day, and understanding the day-to-day really makes people connect with the athletes, and I think gives them more empathy and hopefully more support to know what they're doing is a really great feat, what they accomplish out on the field and the court every time they get out there for a match. And then understanding that they're human beings, and we all have good days and bad days. And just because, you're Harper Murray or whoever that is, wearing Nebraska across your chest and you're a highly touted athlete and you have all these followers, doesn't change that you're a human being and still have good days and bad days.
Yeah. How important, you played here and then you've been with Coach Hook for a long time, and I know he's evolved and he's talked a lot about that and the importance of the mental health. How important has that been for you guys as a program to be able to have those resources, to have evolved, to understand the needs and just the pressures that has come along with the growth of the sport and the growth of this program?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the growth of the sport. I mean, look at the attention volleyball's getting these days. I mean, that wasn't the case 15 years ago. So yes, there were still pressures there, but it was it wasn't at the national level that it is now. And how now female sports in general is trying to catch up to where the men's sports are. And just that and growth and pressure has opened up more doors to what people feel like they can say and do and how people treat these athletes. It's really changed. And as we think about it when we're recruiting athletes, and I mean, as a parent, as a mom myself, if somebody were to tell me, hey, we have all these resources in place to help, because it is a lot. Think of all the transitions they're going through, leaving home, trying to you're coming to, just the transition of being a high school athlete to a college athlete at this level is a huge transition. And then all the other pressures on top of that. And so the mental side of it has been a huge, huge focus for us. And we've talked to people outside that are in the professional landscape, and they talk about the importance of it too, and developing that now and those skills now, how that only helps them in the future. And we have so many of our athletes that want to play a professional future or on the national team. And so it is our job to make sure we give them those skills and try to help them. So when they're in that situation, because the higher the level and the more elite you are, the more pressure and the more mental toughness you're going to have. And so it's been a real focus for us, and we feel like it's a real asset to our players and our program.
One of those resources, too, that you guys have tapped into is working with Sue Lindquist. Tell us about that and that process and what she's been able to provide for this program.
Well, Sue is just, she's one of a kind, and she's at a whole different level. She just has a tremendous way of really reaching out to the team and the staff and trying to see, how to get us on the same page, finding just those little small details, those little things that would help us get over the hump in this area, or to be more confident from the service line or whatever. And it's her involvement with our program has been a real relief, just because she's been there at an extremely high level. She's worked with very, very high level athletes, and understanding that is helping our athletes know that it's not just the coaching staff here that's saying this. It's somebody else that's outside, has no ties, seen from a different lens, is coming in and providing a voice. And it's been big for our program. But I also think it is important to understand she's working with, she worked with our national team. So Jordan is very familiar with working with her, and having Jordan then on staff is just a great connection and tie to help continue to really push the athletes and help them build that muscle and that callus that their bodies are ready to take over, to let their minds relax and not try to think too much. They've put in the hours, and they should be confident when they step out there to perform.
Great stuff, and a great reminder, too, that it is so much more than just practicing and playing the physical part. I mean, the mental part of it has just become so important to be able to separate yourself as an elite athlete, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the teams we're competing against, I mean, the top 5 to 10, really the difference in athletic ability and talent and volleyball talent is not that great. It's the mental edge, what the team has, that, the attack mentality and not being afraid, and that mental toughness that really separates those teams. And that's what makes the elite very elite. And it's a little bit, but it can cause a huge jump in how a team performs overall through the season.
You guys were honored on Saturday at the football game, got a huge roar. How fun was that? How special was that to be able to be celebrated in front of Husker Nation and the Huskers win over Colorado?
Yeah, Saturday night was a really fun night. You could feel the energy, and our players were really excited to, get to attend a football game. That doesn't happen very much, and understanding that it was a big game, and then to know that they were going to be recognized and celebrate for their efforts from the previous year in the Big Ten. And it's really cool to see how Nebraska fans, you're at this big football game, but how much they really like to celebrate all the successes of the programs within the university and the department, and really see the support across the board. And what a fun night. And it was, our players were all smiles. I know that. And it really is a reward for everything they went through last year and their accomplishment at Big Ten. And it it's kind of a motivating factor too, as we get ready we're going in our final 2 weeks of non-conference and getting ready for Big Ten, to remember what we did last year and we were celebrated, and our mission is to go try to do the same thing this year.
We talked about the ante rises with each week. This week you got a big one starting with Creighton on Tuesday night, tomorrow night as we record this. Man, talk about that matchup. Creighton's obviously a ranked team, going to be a good test for you guys.
Creighton's always a great test for us, that in-state rivalry, and they've played some good teams. They beat USC in 4 this over the weekend, and they're playing at a really high level right now. They've always been a gritty defensive team. We know Nora Sis is back, their main attacker on the outside, and she had a big year for them last year, and she's continuing the same this year. And so they're very well coached. Coach Berthal Booth does a wonderful job, and they come in and they're always going to put up a great fight. And so we're going to have to be at the top of our game and ready to go. And we expect it to be a great match. And it's good for our players to see this and have so many high-level matches day in and day out, because that definitely does prepare us for what lies ahead in the Big Ten.
How have you seen the rivalry grow with Creighton, and how important is it for the state? How great is it for this state?
It's awesome for the state. I mean, to think of the level of volleyball in our state, whether it's Division I, Division II, NAIA, we have teams that are in the top 5 in every division. And I think that just speaks volumes to what volleyball means to this state. Also, it speaks to the coaching that we have in the state, the talent that we have developing those athletes. But we root for Creighton. We want Creighton to do great things throughout the year. It really puts a shining light on what Nebraska volleyball is about across the board and throughout the state. And they compete. I mean, they pack it with some top teams through the non-conference, and it's good to see, because we know they're going to be a team to reckon with as you head into the end of the season in December. So it's fun to play them, and that rivalry has definitely developed more and more over the years, because they've continued to be better and better and finish at a high level every single season.
So I know all focus is on Creighton right now, but you come looking forward to this weekend. You got Arizona State, Wichita State. And it's crazy, the last weekend before you guys play Big Ten play, right? Right? That's
we
right.
have one more non-conference.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. But what are some of the things you're looking for this team as you move closer and closer to Big Ten play?
Well, I think, like we said, we got to continue to put pressure on teams from the service line. We need to get in a rhythm offensively, more, and feel more comfortable offensively out there. And our defense and our block still has some things to work on, but it is early in the year, and we don't want to be at our best right now.
Yeah.
And so we need to see us continue to go on this upward trajectory, and that our team is starting to settle in and look comfortable out there, and starting to feel comfortable in the role that they have for the team this year. And so that'll be the biggest thing that we need to see this weekend. And we know we're going to face some tough competition this week, and then next week in our final 2 with Stanford and Louisville on the road before we hit Big Ten. So it's each week, you got to take it game by game. You can't look ahead, because there is no easy match, there is no easy week from here on out. And so that's really the mentality we're hoping our team really embraces and steps onto the court tomorrow night against Creighton, and then going into this weekend with the same mentality of one match at a time, and understanding that no team you can't take a night off. There's no nights off when you're here at Nebraska.
Great stuff. As always, Lindsay Peterson, appreciate your time here with us on The Dig.
Thanks for having me.
The Dig is powered by Emeritus. Emeritus is proud to power this podcast and all of Husker women's sports. Make sure you subscribe and like wherever you listen to never miss an episode right here on the Huskers Radio Network podcast.